I'm Andrea, thanks for joining me today at Crafty Little Things. This is the second project for the Happy Crafters design team where I'm using the Spirited Snowmen stamp set. Our upline and team leader Anne Melvin from Positively Papercraft asked us to come up with 4 projects, 1 a week, using the stamp set. And you might have seen mine last week. I did a Christmas card. This week I've made a little gift and I've done quite a lot of stamping with this time, and obviously everything I've used is Stampin' Up and everything's current except this gold twine, but there is some gold twine that is current that you could use instead. So what I've used from this stamp set is I've used mostly this little holly and berries stamp. I've used the winter cheer and I've used this snowman here quite a lot. Okay, so what I did was you'll see from the tutorial, I filmed myself making this one, so this is, you're seeing into the future now. I filmed myself making this one from scratch, and you'll see I go through a few different transitions. Some people have said that I do my sped up videos, but some people have said that they like my videos where I go through the process and I change my mind and I try things out. So you'll see that I did that in this video, and I kind of more or less made it up as I went along. One thing I was sure of was that I was printing my own DSP, and that's what I did here. So this is printed and hand coloured. Some of it's been sort of watercoloured using an aqua marker, and yeah, I basically did lots of fussy cutting and lots of stamping. So you open up this little box and it's an exploding box, and it's got the little Spirited Snowmen hand stamped and coloured on top of the handmade DSP, and a candle in the centre here with some of this lovely twine wrapped loosely around it. And the candle also has the Spirited Snowman stamped onto it, so I'll show you how to do that as well. I did have a little holder for the candle in here, but I kind of made my box a little bit too small to make it right, so I did change. You'll see that I did change my mind and I just sort of stuck it down onto a couple of discs of the handmade DSP. And then I just wrapped some of the gold twine around the candle just to carry on that effect. The snowmen all have Wink of Stella on them, so they are sparkly. You might not be able to see, but they are. So yeah, it's really cute. So yeah, so join me in how to make this. Obviously, because I'm going through the whole design process of measuring out my box and all that sort of thing, there will be bits that aren't applicable because I do change my mind, so I'll try and cut those bits out, or I'll say I changed my mind with an annotation, and yeah, and you'll get to the end product. So what you need to stamp onto a candle is you need your candle first. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I've just got a candle here that measures 1.5 inches in diameter, and it's to the top of the wick, it's nearly 2.5 inches. So it's a nice small size. You need some tissue paper. Now you can either use normal tissue paper, or you can use a layer off a serviette, which you will see me doing in other projects leading up to Christmas. You also need some greaseproof paper. Just got some any old greaseproof paper. And you need to figure out which side is the wax side and which side is the unwaxed side. If you don't have if you don't have greaseproof paper and you've got some candles, which you obviously have because you're making one, rub it onto a piece of normal printer paper and use the wax side down. And that way you can also transfer a fragrance. So if you've got a fragrant candle, you can rub it on to your wax side and that'll transfer the fragrance to the candle as well. It's not going to burn like a fragrance candle, But then usually a decorated candle, you don't burn, they don't get burned anyway, they're usually just kept for decoration really. So as we know, when we're using the Spirited Snowman, and I'm going to use just this snowman picture to put on one side. So what I've got to do is decide what colour you want it to be. Now I'm going to do a couple of colours this one. I'm going to start off with this outline. I'm just going to make the outline in black. So I'm just going to, and it does just fit onto this candle. So I'm just going to stamp him on, try and find a piece that's not too creased and stamp him on there. And then I'm just going to take some markers and just colour bits in, not lots of bits. I'm just going to sort of put a bit of red on his hat. Okay, a little bit of red on his scarf. Oh, I'm going to give him some green boots. I'll give him green buttons. I'll give him green dots on his hat. I just wanted to add something to stop him being just black and white. And there's nothing wrong with him being just black and white. There we go. So when that's done, what you need to do is just cut him out. Okay, and then you just place your image on to your candle, where you want it. With these snowmen, it doesn't matter if it's straight or not, because it just doesn't matter, because it can be leaning over to one side or whatever. Get your heat tool ready. Get your paper, which has the waxy side, down. Lay that over the top of your image. You'll still be able to see your image through the paper, so you'll know it's still in the right place, that's still straight. And you want to hold that really tight. Now, you might want to wear a metal glove or something, because this is going to get quite hot. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put some heat onto here. Okay, so get your heat tool nice and hot before you start. And then you just apply your heat quite liberally, and you'll see it start to change colour underneath. Make sure you cover all parts of your image. Okay, and that's it. You don't want to do too much, because you can melt your candle too much and it looks stupid. And then you peel off your paper and you're left with your snowman candle. Okay, now if you wanted to do something else, if you wanted to pop on just a little bit hanging off the bottom there, if you wanted to pop on a sentiment or something on the other side, you could do, but I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to put the snowman on there. That little bottom bit there just needs a little bit more attention. I'm just going to I'm just going to pop it back into the greaseproof paper and just warm up the foot a little bit more, just to make it blend in. That's all it takes. Okay, that's done. If you wanted to do the other side, you could. If you wanted to put something on the other side, you could. But I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay. Now we'll make a box for it. I mean, you can glitter it up if you want. You can do whatever you want with it. Okay. I'm going to do some glittery ones for a project, a separate project for Christmas. So you'll see those. Probably see those happening on one of my videos soon. Right, so I thought I'd actually show you the process of how to make a box so that you can make one for whatever size candle you have. Now we know that our candle, here's our candle, and we know it measures 1.5 in diameter, yeah? So 1.5 inches. So we know the little hole that we're going to stand it in needs to be 1.5. And we know that our candle is, when the wick's down, it's 2.5 inches high. Yeah. So we know that our little, if we imagine this is going to be the bottom, and then these are the exploding panels. Yeah. And this one's going to have the circle in it. So we know that each of these panels needs to be, we're going to do them 2 3/4, yeah? 2 3/4 on this length here. And then we know on this side, if it's 1.5, then we know we're going to probably make these 2, yeah? Because then that gives us a 1/4 inch all the way round in the bottom, around the circle hole that we're going to make. So you can see how you measure your piece of card to start off with, because you've got 2 3/4 here, 2 here, and 2 3/4 here, and it's square. So you've got your 2 here, your 2 3/4, sorry. So you've got your 2 3/4 here, plus your 2 here, plus your 2 3/4 here. So that's 2, 4, 6 and 6/4, which makes 7.5. Okay, so you need a piece of cardstock that measures 7.5 by 7.5 to make the exploding box. Then we're going to make a lid to put on the top. So that you know the lid then is going to be 2 by 2. So your lid is going to be 2 by 2, and then it's going to come down 1 inch. Yeah. So you're going to be 2 plus 1 plus 1. That's 4 by 4. So for the lid, you need a piece of cardstock that is 4 by 4 inches. And this is your measurement for the box. Okay. And then your scoring for your box is going to be, you're going to score at 2 3/4 on each side. Scoring is going to be at 2 3/4, and then you're going to leave 2. So your next score is going to be at 4 3/4. Okay. And then that will be your 7.5. Yeah. Just one moment. So that's where your scoring is going to be on each side. And scoring for your lid is going to be at 1 inch on each side to get your flaps, but you will move it slightly away to give yourself a little bit of room to manoeuvre, but we'll look at that. So I'm going to have my background for my box is going to be white, and then I'm going to decorate it. I'm going to be printing on, making my own DSP using this lovely stamp set just to complement what's going on my candle. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some Whisper White, and I'm going to cut it into those sizes, and then I'm going to, in fact, I think I might make my box red and then put white panels on it. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I'm going to make it red and I'm going to put white panels on it because it's only small, isn't it? It's only 2 inch. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to make it red. So I'm going to do the lid and the box in red, and then I'm going to make some DSP onto white, Whisper White, and use that to go on top, and then stamp on some more of our snowmen. We're going to need sort of 5 panels, quite small panels, so we don't need to print a lot. Let me just have a bit of my tea. Now, I think what I'm going to use to do the DSP is I'm just going to use this holly stamp. And I'm just going to use that to make my DSP. And I'm going to stamp it in. I'm going to stamp it in a nice green or tranquil tide. I'm just going to stamp this all over quite randomly. Okay, so this way what you can do is you can cut out the pieces that you cut out, sort of your best bits if you like. So I'm going to use a tranquil tide marker and a real red marker, and I'm just going to go around and colour these in. And I'm just going to colour them in very I'm not going to be colouring them in sort of precisely. I'm just going to colour them in like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to miss some out because I'm going to do those with an aqua painter. This one, I'm just going to bring in some of the green, just very subtly. From the edges. So just by rubbing the aqua blender over the leaf, as long as you're rubbing it over the ink, you'll wash the ink out in a watercolour sort of fashion. And that's just going to give the little contrast in the design. I think we've got all of them. And now the red berries. So there we go, that's a lovely piece of DSP now for us to use for our project. But that's not all the stamping we're going to be doing. I don't think there's any part of this that I wouldn't want to use really. So we're going to go 2 3/4. So we want to be 2 5/8. Okay, so 2 5/8. 2 5/8, and then we want 1 7/8. Okay, so we want a 1 7/8 square. That's going to be for the top. Okay, and then we want I'm going to leave the edges of the lid plain, and then we want 7. So we want these to be cut to 7/8, 1 7/8. So we'll need 8 of these because we need the insides as well. So we need 7.5 by 7.5. And then we need 4 by 4 for the lid. Looks really little, doesn't it? 4 by 4 for the lid. So we've got our measurements, haven't we? So for the box then, we said we'd score it at 2 3/4 and 4 3/4. Oh, so I've started it off wrong straight away and scored it at 2.5. So 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so that I've just accidentally scored it at 2.5. So I'm just going to get my wider, just push that down. I'm just going to pop it onto here. And then I want to do the same on the other side. So 2 3/4 and 4 3/4. Okay, so that's a little bit for our candle in the middle. And these pieces are going to come out, okay? That's going to be our candle, and these are going to come up. Yeah, that's right. Now for the lid, it's 4 by 4. We're going to score 1 inch on each side, but we're going to just shuffle it across to give us that little bit of leeway of 1/16 of an inch, just to shuffle across. That's for the lid. Okay, so now I'm just going to make my sentiments. I'm going to take in the Winter Cheer stamp from the Spirited Snowman set, and I'm going to print it in Tranquil Tide. I'm just going to pop it like so. And I'm going to just fussy cut out one of the holly berries from one of the holly leaves from the DSP that I've made, but I'm going to just cut this using a 1 3/8 circle punch. Okay, and then I'm going to use a 1 3/4 inch in the red, which is cherry cobbler. Didn't realise it was cherry cobbler, but it is. In the light I was in, it looked like real red. Now I'm just looking for my dimensionals. So I'm just going to pop that on there with a dimensional. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this DSP that I made and I'm just going to cut out one of the berries. I'll take this one and I'm going to be sticking that just up there. I'm just going to stick it by the bottom leaves. Oops. Just going to stick it on to the, so it's not flat. Just going to stick it by the bottom leaves like that, so it's not flat. Okay, and then that's just going to go on the top, and that's going to be affixed with dimensionals. So that's just going to have a dimensional on the top. That's going to go like so. A little winter cheer. And then I'm going to use, oops, some gold twine. Snip some off. And the best thing is just to wrap it around. Leave how much you need to finish your bow at this end. So then that just makes it look nice and pretty, and that can just go on the top of your box. So on the outside then, it's a lovely cute little box. There we go, and we're going to do them exactly as we did on the candle. So it's going to be stamped in basic black and coloured in. Okay, so I'm going to stamp him in basic black and colour in. Okay, and I'm just going to fussy cut those out, and I'm going to pop them onto these backgrounds here. Right, so there are little snowmen. So then here's the box itself. Just going to burnish the score lines. And then just cut out all the 4 panels. Now you want to do it really precisely as possible, because these are going to sort of be on show, if you like. There's going to be nothing to hide them behind. So cut these out. These are nice, the pieces you left behind are nice sizes for sentiments. So we'll just make the lid. Let's see if we got that right. Looks a little bit too big to me. So for the lid, I'm just going to cut up each bottom right score line. I didn't want to have to do too much And we're just going to put the adhesive on all the 4 tabs on the outside. I didn't want to do too much editing of this video, and everything that could happen has happened, so it's been a bit of a disaster. But, you know, what I've liked is I've shown you through like an idea and where I kind of went wrong was with that insert in the box. I mean, you don't need to have an insert in the box at all, because you can always stick your candle down with a bit of, you can always stick it down with a dimensional or a bit of tape or a glue dot. I just think it's nice to have something to stick it into. And then there's the lid, so the lid does fit nicely. So what I'm going to just do now is, I never notched any of those in. I'm just going to tidy up those edges because some of them are a little bit overlapping. So I'm just going to tidy up those. And then before we glue that base down, you see, that can be glued in, or you can just stand your candle there and just have a glue dot securing it down if you want, or you could do whatever you want, but I'm just going to have that little, I'm going to leave it in there because I like it. Okay, so I will glue that down eventually, but before I glue anything else down, I'm going to start decorating my box. So I'm going to pop, I'm leaving the sides as they are, but I'm going to pop a piece of my handmade DSP on the top, like so. And I'm going to remove that, and then I'm going to pop handmade DSP on the box. I'm going to pop it on the inside. These panels should fit, and I'm going to pop on the outside. Right, so what I'm going to do for the centre here is I'm just going to have a circle that I've cut out from a 1 3/4 inch punch, and I'm going to pop that on the bottom, and then I'm just going to have another one, and I'm just going to have another one that's attached there to the bottom of the candle. Okay, and then that'll just be glued on there. Okay, so I'm just going to pop my candle in there and leave that to set. So I'm going to just pop those on with dimensionals.